we have an explosive one today. We are going direct to Georgia. We're going to bring in the one and only Scott Steiner. Scott, welcome to the media teleconference.
Well, fuck off, Ross. You wasted too much of my time, man. It's like, you try to call me up, tell me to call me at 2 o'clock. It's 2 minutes after 2. What happened at 2 o'clock? Shit. I'm sorry about traffic sucks, man. Going down the highway, in the fast lane.
I guess it's a good day for. I guess it's a good day for you, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, I started out good. I was fine when I first woke up. Then this traffic here sucks. Go ahead, ask me a question. You already got me pissed off. What is it?
Well, let me ask you about Redemption. This Sunday, the team is Eli Drake against LAX with Santana and Ortiz, and of course you got Conan on the outside.
Yeah, Conan's going to be doing what he always did when we're at NWO. He's going to be carrying my bags after this match and signing my belt. Maybe my shoes, too. Actually, he might come and cut my grass. I might have all three of them, really. I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
Alrighty. Your thoughts about Santana and Ortiz?
Well, they will be with Conan cutting my grass. I actually have a T-spot where I need on the grounds where you have to be cutting, so they better be just right. Not any golf, but they better be cutting my grass right. That's what I don't understand. Why is Trump wants to keep on all the Mexicans, but who's going to cut the grass? Seriously. I mean, that's a legitimate question.
Oh, I actually got a better question for you. I just can't picture you wearing knickers to play golf.
I don't. Who's going to say you got to wear your proper attire? Yeah, they want you to wear a collared shirt. I don't wear a collared shirt. I'm wearing
a collared shirt?
No, I wear a white beater out there.
Not surprising. What about teaming with Eli Drake?
I never really knew Drake before he called me up and they made me offer to pay me to help him come beat some people up. But he's very talented, and he definitely has the mic skills to back everything else up. And I think he's going to be on top for a while. He's definitely one of the top guys in professional wrestling today. And that's only been from meeting. That's only from meeting with him a couple of times. So he's definitely, the potential is unlimited with Eli Drake.
Well,
I usually don't like too many people, but he's good.
Well, that I know for sure. And with that, we will open. At this point, all I can say is good luck. Scott's in a great mood, as you can tell. Identify yourself and your media outlet, and please limit it to one question and one question only so we can get through everybody on the call.
Q&A session has started. To ask your question, please press *6.
Ryan Ryder here from Main Event Radio. Scott, one of your former proteges, Petey Williams, is going for the X Division Championship against Matt Sydal this Sunday at Redemption. Your thoughts on Petey and his championship opportunity?
Petey will have a chance if he bleaches his hair and tries to look like me again. That's when he has most success. That's when people thought he was paid attention to him, and as a matter of fact, that's when his wife loved him the most because she thought it was actually me. So I have nothing but love and respect for Petey and his wife. But I think he's going to do great. Petey's a good guy, and and he's even a better-looking guy when he bleaches his hair and call him Little Petey Pump.
Hey, it's Joey Mills from the Sport Bible. I just wanted to ask, obviously you've been a star in every major organisation in pro wrestling over many years. I just wondered I just wondered what you thought the key to your longevity at the top level is and how you've managed to stay at the top for so long.
It's definitely a way, I trained throughout my career, Before I was in professional wrestling, as a lot of people know I was in amateur wrestling. The first year I got to University of Michigan, I had to train with the guy who was basically the first American to be an Olympic champion in Greco-Roman. So that was my introduction to being a college wrestler. I helped train with him, and I trained with him for 5 years. So that really made me afraid of no one. If I can, train with an Olympic champion, one of the best ever in the world at Greco-Roman, I knew the sky was the limit. And longevity was, I've never really taken a day off of training, and that's the key to everything. The one thing I do wish I could do more is stretch, but my freaks make sure I'm limber. They'll call me the big bad booty daddy for nothing. I mean, I'm pretty limber, and there's little positions that these freaks want me to be in, and so I wouldn't say I'm too limber, but they make sure I'm limber enough because trust me, they're satisfied.
That's great. Thanks, Scott.
This is Big Ray from OneWrestling.com. Mr. Pump, or Mr. Big Poppa Pump, Scott Steiner. I have a good friend. His name is Bill Apter. He wanted me to ask you a specific question regarding Shoney's, the restaurant that you help run over in Georgia. He wanted to know, next time you guys are on a road trip, what are you going to have Bill try out there? Anything special over at Shoney's? Tell us a little bit about Shoney's, sir.
Bill can come in and get whatever he wants. We have a limited amount of American food, from hamburger steaks to seafood, and plus we have the world famous buffet that's been going on since 1946. And the difference in my show is my store is a new prototype where I also have a bar, with alcohol, beer, anything you want, any drink. We're actually coming up with a new drink's going to called Big Poppa Punch, and then, drink one of those, and you'd be lucky to walk out the door. But the food is great. I got great cooks, great servers, and I'm very proud of it because one of the reasons why I really got into the food business, restaurant business, because we travel so much, and we always have a hard time finding good places to eat, late at night, and so I always make sure that my restaurant has the great food and great drink and happy you can have a good time. I have 27 TVs in there, and it has a private dining, so it's a new prototype. It's not your Shoney's that has been around since 1947. It's a new prototype, so people are surprised when they first come in.
Well, it sounds like the place to be. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Steiner.
Oh, no problem, man.
Stephanie for Steelchair Magazine in UK. Thank you, Scott, for your time. Just wanted to ask you a simple question. You were 35 years in your career. What motivates you to continue and to keep punching people? Thank you very much.
Well, I don't really punching people has always been my motivation. I don't know why, for some reason a lot of people piss me off, so there's great pleasure of punching people. But other than that, I also love wrestling in front of the fans, in front of the crowd, and there's nothing like a rush like getting in the ring and wrestling. So, that's really my motivation, because the love of wrestling and the love to knock somebody's teeth down the throat. I mean, it's great. You know, you should try it sometime. You married? If you're not married, if you're married, try punching your guy. You'll stay in line. If you're not married, you can't.
Stephanie, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm there.
I had you on mute, so we didn't hear your answer. He was asking you a question.
If I was married, no, I'm not.
Oh, you gotta get married and punch a guy around.
I
It's great.
if I want to punch them. I have two brothers to punch it.
Oh, there you go.
Yes. Thank you very much.
All right.
Hi Scott, Donna Corby here from the Irish Daily Mirror. Just wondering, what are your thoughts on everything that's been happening with Conor McGregor over the last few weeks? I know you're no stranger to controversy yourself, and he's been making a lot of headlines.
Yeah, he definitely knows how to command the stage and make an entrance or make an exit. Whatever he was doing at Barclays Center, you know, doing that dolly through the glass. But he's definitely he's must see. People want to see him what he does next because he's unpredictable, and you know, it's great. And, for MMA, and that's why he generates the crowd. It generates the cash flow, and people want to buy papers to see what he does next. So he definitely knows what he's doing.
Scott, this is Harry here from NBC Sports Radio's Pro Wrestling 247 on Demand. First off, thank you for your time today.
Harry, you got to speak up. Harry, you got to speak up.
Okay, this is Harry from NBC Sports Radio's Pro Wrestling 247 on Demand. And first up, I want to thank you for your time today.
No problem.
Sir, you've already had an illustrious career in professional wrestling, and now you are poised to challenge for the Impact Tag Team Championship with Eli Drake at Redemption this Sunday. Could you break down the mathematical probability of LAX defeating yourself and the Namer of Dummies?
Oh man, you'd be surprised how many people want me to come to another mathematical equation of why I'm going to beat somebody, and what's the mathematical summation of how I'm going to do it. And actually, I haven't thought about that of the actual percentages wise, but definitely from here to Sunday, I'll think of something. With the mathematical equation, there was Mexican Americans having a chance against me and Eli, but I actually can't come up with a percentage thing right now.
Real quick, how does it feel to be known for that to be your most infamous promo?
That does get a lot of airtime. I wouldn't say it's my most. It's one of the most recent. But there's been a lot that people like, but it's great. I mean, I went over to Ireland and the UK, and the guys that brought me over had that whole equation on the screen, and and it made the people laugh. It was actually, but it made sense to me,
Hi Scott, it's Oliver Newman here from Broken Book Warriors Wrestling Podcast. Thank you very much for your time today. My question is, who would you consider your friends in the Impact Wrestling locker room?
Say that again?
Who would you consider your friends in the Impact Wrestling locker room?
Well, I try to stay away from making friends because you never know who you're going to have to beat up, so kind of takes the edge off when you're going to fight somebody who's your friend, so I try not to make friends because I'd much rather punch somebody than, be friends with them. So, really, especially now when I just coming back and I really haven't got to know them, I have to say, Eli is actually a pretty cool dude, and he's definitely I'm impressed with his talent. But as far as friends, I don't call anybody my friends at this point.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Scott, we're going to go to an email question from Dave Clay. And he asked, what fat ass surprised you with his toughness in your career?
I wrestled a lot of fat asses, and you'd be surprised how tough some of these guys are. It's like, stealing a sugar from a fat man is pretty hard to do, and that's, I think that, so they have a definitely a tolerance, you can't push a fat guy away from a TV with his banquet dinner, so it's hard. These fat asses are pretty tough because, they're usually physically and mentally abused because they're fat. And believe it or not, as crazy as it sounds, most fat guys don't like to be called fat asses. I mean, are you kidding me? How can you not call a fat guy fat asses? So, so you call a guy a fat ass, he immediately gets upset, which therefore makes it much harder for you to beat him. But, man, there ain't no fat ass ever going to hang the one-on-one with genetic freaks.
Hey, Scott, John Corrigan from the Wrestling Estate. It's 2018. You are the talk of the wrestling world right now, heading into Redemption. Did you ever see yourself wrestling this long and being on top this long?
No, I never really did. But the strange thing about it is, when WCW closed, I actually retired then, and you'd be surprised how bored you get. And then, I've taken periods of time off, but, there's something about, wrestling in front of people and meeting the fans. It's addicting, really. And the love of wrestling keeps me going, So, no, I really, the longevity is I've said, man, when I was young, I'm going to retire early, but then what do you do to replace that excitement? That's the whole deal. Like, how do you replace that rush? How do you replace the adrenaline rush? It's hard to do, So, no, to answer your question, I never thought I'd still be wrestling, but I'm doing it out of love for the sport. So, I'm surprised as much as everybody else, but I don't know. People seem still want to, pay to see me, come see me wrestle, come see, it seems like crazy never goes out of style, People want to see what I do next, and so. And the thing is, I can't predict what I'm going to do next. It all happens when it happens, So it's as much a surprise to me as it is to everybody else.
That's what we love about you. Thanks for coming back, man.
Oh, yeah, because, when I get into wrestling, that is really the only time that I am free, free from assault charges, stop battery, you can beat anybody up, so, and, in the real world, you can't just go out and punch somebody, but in wrestling, you can, can't hit anybody with a pipe, can't, steal a girlfriend and make love to her, and he can't do shit about it. So, no, it's like when you're wrestling, that's really the only time I'm free, so it's great.
Hey, Scott, it's Greg Oliver from Slam Wrestling. You've been wrestling a long time, as we just talked about. How has the actual in-ring storytelling changed, or has it? And I guess related to that, are the fans the same today as they were when you started back in the 80s?
I'm really still trying to wrestle, the way I've always wrestled, balls to the wall, just go out there and give it everything I have and try to, the best match on the card and excite the crowd and, in the process, beat somebody up, so.
And the fans change that?
Have the fans change that? I mean, beat somebody up? No, I mean, if a fan crosses the line, goes over that barrier, they're free game. Once you do that, I think a free shot at them too. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
All right.
Hey, Mr. Steiner, it's Big Ray for OneWrestling.com again. There's no doubt that you are a legend in this business, and we heard some unfortunate news this morning that the legendary Bruno Sammartino did pass away. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on the living legend, on who was known, the living legend Bruno Sammartino, and did he have any influence on your career, Mr. Steiner? Thank you.
I never got the chance to watch, because I never watched wrestling when I was a kid, but I met Bruno a few times when I was in the WWF, and he was always a gracious guy. He was always, nice. He always talked to him, and the thing he did in wrestling will never be topped for his, undefeated for, 8 years he held the belt, and then got hurt, and then won it again for another 3 years. I mean, that's unprecedented, what the record he set as far as in Madison Square Garden all those years in a row. So, no, he was definitely, he was an amazing wrestler. He laid the groundwork for all of us generations to come after him. And he was, he really was ahead of it. He was I read the other day where he broke the bench press world record. So, yeah, he was an amazing athlete. Coming from humble beginnings,
Hey Scott, this is Riju from Sportskira in India. How are you doing today?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. So you are known for cutting some of the most entertaining unscripted promos. Do you think the overscripting of promos is killing the business these days?
Oh yeah, it's some of the worst shit that you can do is to curb somebody's professional ways to express their feelings, express the character they want to, or who they are. So for that, for the idiots that script interviews, it's a travesty doing that. I mean, you basically cookie cutter, having characters, and it's some of the worst things you do. And the thing is, fans recognize that. People do not want to see scripted interviews, but that's just the way that they control the wrestlers nowadays. And it's if they can't see that they're killing it, they're idiots.
Scott, we're going to go to an email question from Todd Moore, who asked, any chance your brother Rick joins you for this stint in Impact?
Oh, you never know. The dog is a man's best friend, and dog-faced grandma's always near and close to what I do. So I can't say no, and I for sure.
Hey, Riju from Sportskira again. How was the Impact Wrestling versus Lucha Underground event at WrestleCon, and did you have a fun time wrestling there?
In India?
No, Impact versus Lucha at WrestleCon.
Oh, it was good. I had the crowd was electric. Everybody was having fun, and when it's like that, that's when it's great to be in the ring, when people actually are excited for you to be out there, and so that's what makes wrestling great. So I had a good time.
Thank you.
Hey Scott, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com here. I wanted to ask you, Brian Cage uses the old Steiner screwdriver move, which you used in TNA and, of course, throughout your WWF, WCW career. What do you think of him using that move? Have you seen his version, and if so, what do you think of it?
No, I've actually never seen his version. But, it's, how many people have copied my moves over, Frankensteiner, they call it a Hurricane Rana, it's Frankensteiner. Screwdriver, the reverse slam where, do backflip and, people have copied my moves, throughout my career, but no, it's just, imitation is the best form of flattery, and Brian Cage is actually, is a good guy. He looks great, and I put him, as one of the guys in TNA to make a big impact, and hopefully he keeps on training and working on wrestling where he becomes, one of the best in the business, because he has that potential. He has a really good look.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Scott, Ryan Bowman from thegorillaposition.com. Conan was talking a lot of trash to you on your first night back, and you've never really been shy about your opinion. You talked earlier about how much you like beating people up, but do you have as much fun destroying your opponents verbally as you do physically?
Well, I actually verbally beat them up so I can actually physically beat them up. That makes sense. Because I verbally beat them up too. Because if there's any hesitation, like, I don't really want to wrestle today, where I, say I'm going to steal your girlfriend, take her home, show her what it's like to be with a real man. Hopefully I'll get you a little incensed, a little pissed off to where, that they really want to fight me. Then the shit's on. So one leads to the other. That's one of the reasons why I'm so antagonistic when I do my interviews, because hopefully I'll piss you off, and then you will actually think you're man enough to go one-on-one with Gen X Freak, and then you realize that not only can you hang with me verbally, you can't hang with me physically. So, I mean, that's great to be able to dominate another worthless soul like that and two different factions in one night. And then of course, I do take his girlfriend back to the hotel room, and she'll never be the same. Because once you scream out, big bad booty daddy, that's a life-changing moment for all females that haven't been in contact with.
So there's three stages of taking their manhood.
I've changed a lot of females' outlook on life.
Hi, Scott. David Dunn with the New Zealand Pro Wrestling Informer. You've had a number of tag team partners over the years. Obviously, your brother Rick, but more recently there's been Petey Williams. There was Teddy Hart at the Lucha Underground event, and now you're teaming with Eli Drake. What is it that you look for in a tag team partner?
Keep up and stay out of my way. Like in most cases nowadays, it's like when I first started wrestling my brother, you really knew what either one was going to do, because there's nothing like a tag team with your brother. But most recently, I'm kind of like a paid assassin. People call me in because they know my background. They know I'm one half of the greatest tag team to ever live in professional wrestling. So, if you're not my brother, just stay out of my way, and I'll do what I do. I'll do what I do, baby.
Hi, Scott. It's Joey from Sport Bible in the UK. I was just wondering, how does working for Impact Wrestling differ from your time in WWE and WCW?
Well, actually, right now it's been pretty limited, but it really doesn't matter, If you want me to beat somebody up, I'll beat somebody. I don't care what under the what banner it's under, you know. But I will have to say that, you know, the greatest organization I ever wrestled for was WCW. Go ahead.
Hi, Scott. Great pleasure to talk to you. It's Adam from the Impact Lounge in the UK. You just said again you're one of the greatest tag teams of all time, when I don't think anyone would say to your face that they would disagree. But who do you think is number 2 in the list, and what do you think of the current champs in Impact?
I would have to say you're right about putting us number 1. But does it really matter after that who's number 2 and number 3? As long as I'm number 1, you know. But Road Warriors are tough. Doom was tough. Ron Simmons and Butch Reed. I mean, they were great athletes. You know. When we wrestled Bret Hart and Owen Hart, you know, they were good. I mean, I've wrestled anybody there is to wrestle that we've wrestled as a tag team. So, as far as ranking somebody number 2 is, you know, you're okay. You're number 2.
And what do you make of this incarnation of LAX? Obviously, very different styles to yourself. How do you face a team like that?
I mean, they better enjoy their time up till Sunday, and then because they're going to be ex-champions. And mark my words, I'm going to tell you that.
Hi Scott, it's Oliver Newman here again from Broken Book Warriors Wrestling Podcast. I just wanted to get your opinion on your least favourite wrestlers of all time.
Oh man, that's well documented, you know. I mean, pick a name. The people I don't like, I've made known, and I don't care what the stature was in the wrestling community. It's like, if you're a piece of shit, you're a piece of shit, and I'll call you out. You know what I mean? So my list of people I don't like is, you know, for good reason. And the truth is, the people I've named, the truth has come out about them, you know?
Hi, Scott. It's Neil Murchis from Calling Sports Magazine in the UK. Obviously, you've had a massive career. I was wondering what's the proudest moment of it, or what you think is your proudest moment?
Say that again, you'll break it up.
Sorry, what is the proudest moment of your career, please?
The best moment of my career?
The proudest moment. What are you most proud of achieving?
I would, you know, I have to say that anytime you win a world title, whether it be tag team titles or, you know, becoming a world champion is something to be proud of. But, you know, also if you set a record that in most likely cases will never be broken, and that's the attendance record over in Pyongyang, North Korea, where 193,000 people, you know, three nights in a row. You know, and you know, Vince can lie about his numbers all he wants in all these WrestleManias and pad them all he wants. That's one number he's never going to break. You know, you know, I watched these documentaries where, you know, 93,000 people in Pontiac Silverdome. It was packed, but it wasn't no 93,000. Plus, 93,000, that's 100,000 less than we wrestle in front of. So he's, you know, he's always, you know, he rules the wrestling world, but there's records, you know, that won't be broken. That's one of them.
Scott, we're going to go to an email question from Shubham, who asked, how much in your prime did you bench and how much did you squat?
Benching was like 625, and squatting in the weight room. I think I got pictures to prove. I think I squatted 3 girls on my back but squatting after hours in my hotel with, I think it was, a couple dozen girls.
Scott, Harry here again from NBC Sports Radio's Pro Wrestling 247 On Demand. You're one of the very few wrestlers to have worked for Impact during all of its incarnations, the Jarrett era, the Carter era, and now the Anthem era. Are there any defining differences between each era in Impact Wrestling that you've noticed?
Well, the first part when I wrestled with Jeff was the reason why it actually came in the first place, was to, help him out and have a viable alternative to just one wrestling organization in the United States. And then of course, we formed one of the greatest factions in professional wrestling, was the Main Event Mafia, with, all the collections of former world champions. And that was great because we had, most of the talent that is up in the WWE right now is, Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode, AJ Styles. Those are the guys that we were going against. Those are the guys that we were trying to make. Those are the guys that we were trying to pass the torch to. And that was the most profitable time at TNA, as far as viewership, making money, merchandise, and all that stuff combined. And then, unfortunately, that led me to my next incarnation, was work for, dumbass Dixie Carter that, brought in, racist Hulk Hogan. And all those other guys. So, and that's what killed it, Mullet ran into the ground, And of course, I let my feelings be known, and then she tried to, put a lawsuit on me because the stuff I was saying on Twitter about Hogan and all the stuff, which was all true. A big piece of shit tried to get me arrested, saying that I assaulted his wife in the airport. Thank God that, they had cameras there. And that's when I left. So, which leads me to now my third incarnation is, that remains to be seen. Like I said, this is like my second match, second time in. So I'm just, see how this goes and see what happens, and see how, far we can take this company and see how much it can grow.
Good afternoon, Scotty.
Hey, what's up?
Andre Corbeil from WrestlingWithWrestling.com, and I've got an interesting question for you today. Whether it's Big Poppa Pump or Scotty and Rick Steiner, no matter how you slice it, dice it, floss it, toss it, flip it, dip it, trip it, or sip it, you're easily a first ballot Hall of Famer, no matter what the company. My question to you, Big Bad Booty Daddy, is would you accept the nomination as the next esteemed member of the Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame later this year, if it was indeed offered to you and even your brother Rick?
I never really thought about that. I don't know.
Right, brother?
I'd have to think about that. I'm already in 2 Hall of Fames. In the Hall of Fame in Michigan, and the Dan Gable Hall of Fame, which to me is one of the highest honors you can have, is being anything associated with, Dan Gable, and a museum, actually, the Hall of Fame, where you can actually go visit. It's actually a concrete building with bricks, slabs of stone, and cement. You can actually go to a fucking town and go visit the Hall of Fame. Not like this bullshit that WWE has, where some imaginary place where it doesn't exist. They have all these busts of people, busts of wrestlers, busts of... Now, what the fuck? They're making a bust of it. You can't put it anywhere. Where do they put it afterwards when they leave the Hall of Fame Center? It goes back to a warehouse. except for the Macho Man goes into Stephanie McMahon's bedroom, and Ric Flair goes into Triple H's. I mean, it's all a bunch of bullshit. See, now you piss me off with that question.
Hey, it's Scott Steiner. It's Julian from Alternative Minds and the Wrestling Court Podcast. How are you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm wide awake. I'm glad that you're back on the Impact Wrestling. I love your run so far. But my only question is, what are your thoughts about Triple H these days?
They're the same as I always thought of him. I mean, nothing's changed. I mean, read every word I said about him. Any media source, my opinion of him hasn't changed one bit.
Hey, Mr. Steiner, it's BigRayFor1Wrestling.com for the final.
Whoop. Sorry, Big Ray, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just did. You can call back in.
Stephanie for Future Magazine in UK again. I wanted to come back to last year and your match at Slammiversary with Josh Matthews against Joseph Buck and Jeremy Borac, and I think your thoughts on it. And as I heard you saying that you wish you can be the new Impact Tag Team Champion. Second part of my question is, are you planning to stay time? And thank you very much again, Scott.
I really didn't catch the last part of the second question. But, yeah, when I came back and wrestled with against Joseph Park, Jeremy Borash, and Josh, I mean, yeah, that was, you got to understand, that was 5 months after having surgery, so I wasn't in best shape as I could be at that time, but I'm better now because, more time after surgery. I had surgery in February and I wrestled, was that June? So, but, we still could have won that match except for, Abyss. I mean, that match should have been thrown out. Because I started out wrestling Joseph Park, and all of a sudden Abyss comes out. How did I have if they can have a review in the NFL, a replay, why couldn't they do that in professional wrestling? They got cameras and studios and stuff like that. I mean, that match should have been thrown out. So, I'm still kind of, pissed off about that. I'll be more pissed off if I like Josh, but I don't like Josh either, so, it don't matter. But, I can tell you right now I'm in better shape than I was then because I had more time to work out and rehab my shoulder. So it'll be interesting to see, the progress I've made. I'm ready to be dominate again.
Hi, Scott. It's Neil Rogers from Calling Sports Magazine in the UK. I asked earlier what was your proudest moment. I'm wondering if there's anything that you wish you'd got to achieve in your career that you weren't able to. Is there anyone you wish you'd wrestled or any championships that you didn't manage to hold?
When I first went up to WWE in 2003, they asked me who I wanted to wrestle, and I said, shit, I want to go against The Rock, At the time, he was the best they had, and unfortunately, that didn't turn out, and I got stuck with it. Freaking idiot. So that's probably, that's probably my only regret. Rock's a good guy. He's a great entertainer, and I thought we could have did, good things together. So that was about it.
Scott, we're going to go to an email question from Jerry P. He's curious, would you have ever considered a career or at least a shot at mixed martial arts?
I never thought about it at the time because when I came out of college, that really wasn't an option. There's guys that I've had wrestle in college. Like Don Fry, he was the champion, and I beat him in college. And then, while I was at Michigan, Mark Coleman was at Ohio State. Well, he was at Ball State first, then he transferred to Ohio State. And they're both good guys, but at the time, it really wasn't an option. And plus, my brother was already in wrestling for 2 years, so that's really one thing I want to do is wrestle with my brother. So, but man, that's a hard way to make a living, man. I just saw Robbie Lawler at WrestleCon this past weekend, and yeah, it's a tough way to make a living, man.
Hey, Scott, Donna Corby again from the Irish Daily Mirror. Just to follow up on the question I was asking you earlier, what would you have done if you were in the bus when Conor McGregor threw that dolly through the window?
Well, it depends. If I had a problem with it when he was doing it to me, things would. But if I didn't have a problem with it, I mean, it's not my boss, I mean, if it was my boss, then I'd have a problem with it, But if it wasn't my boss, there's so many variables to that question. Is it my boss? Is it not my boss? Is he throwing it at me? Is he throwing it at somebody else? But if I would have got hit with the glass and all that stuff, then, I probably would have grabbed that dolly and shoved it up his ass.
Hi, Scott. It's Neil Rogers from Calling Sports Magazine again. You were always known as an innovator with your moves. You invented the Frankenstein that you mentioned earlier. Is there anyone around at the moment who you admire because of the moves that they created?
There's like Mysterio. He does. I'm good friends with Ray. He does a variation of Steiner. But there's a lot of good talent out there that. But it's hard coming up with new moves that people haven't done before. It was I wouldn't say it was easier back then, but think about it. Before I did the Frankensteiner, or DDT off the top rope, or Bulldog off the top rope, or Steiner screwdriver. Those are moves that have never been done before. So it's actually hard to come up with new moves nowadays because everybody has pushed the innovation button to the max. So it's hard to come up with a new move. But there's a lot of guys that mix and match different moves to different variations to make it exciting. So there's a lot of guys out there that have great matches and put on a great display of athletic competition.
Scott, this is Harry again from Pro Wrestling 247 and BC Sports Radio On Demand. You've worked with a lot of great tag teams throughout your career, and one of my all-time favorites, and one of I think the most underrated tag teams of all time, is the Midnight Express with Jim Cornette. What are your opinions on Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane as a combination in their career?
They were great. Those guys, the first guys that, one of the first tag teams that we wrestled when my brother, when I first came to NWA and WCW, and we had great matches with those guys. So, if they're underrated, they're not underrated by in my eyes. I mean, and people could see how good they were. Just for some reason, they're not highlighted as much. But I don't know. But for people that were in the business, I don't think they're underrated. It's maybe by some people outside. But certainly not by any wrestlers that have been in the business.
Hey Scott, Riju from Sportskira again. So you were part of an Indian movie recently. How did that film come about, and did you have fun shooting for that film?
Say that again.
So you were part of an Indian movie recently, right? Did you have fun shooting the film? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, that was. I had a good time filming that movie. It took me. I went to exotic locations, and then went through some pretty cool places for the premiere. But all in all, it was a good time. I had a great time filming it, and I think we're coming up with a follow-up coming up here in the next couple of months. So, no, I had a good time filming that.
Good, thank you.
Hey, Scott, Ryan Bowman from thegorillposition.com again. Every time we see you, you throw in a few extra wrinkles and you do something to get people talking. Do you got any hints for us of what you might have in store for your foes and your friends and even your freaks for this Sunday at Redemption?
Man, I really haven't. See, the stuff that I say or do is, it's nothing really that I might think about maybe a day or two, or I might think of it a couple minutes before I walk out. I was just, like I said, man, when I'm in wrestling, man, I'm free. My mind is free. There's nothing but clear, evil thoughts, and some way I can destroy this guy, or some way I can verbally attack him and verbally shake him down. It's like it's kind of a spur of the moment thing. So it forced me, give me a heads up of what I'm going to do, man. I have no idea until I get out there. As crazy as that sounds, I can't walk around, 24/7 act like a wild man. It's like when I get to the arena, man, that's when my mind wanders and shit goes through my mind. Some things I can do, some things I can't, because even though in wrestling it's still being legal, so I can't say what I'm going to do, but I always try to change up and have, the best match on the card,
Hey, Scott, Big Ray from OneWrestling.com. I just wanted to ask one final question. Was there ever a time you were in the ring with someone and you said to yourself, man, if this was a shoot, this guy might give me a little bit of a problem? Who were some of the toughest guys you ever faced in ring that in a shoot would give you a problem, Scott? Thank you for your time today.
Like I said, I've wrestled everybody, but I've never got into a situation where, it would be challenging. I wrestled big guys, some of the biggest guys in wrestling, but none of them were surely, let me just put it this way. Everybody in wrestling wrestling is a tough way to make a living, so everybody that's in wrestling is pretty tough in their own way, but you hear the stories of all these guys who were tough, like Haku, Barbarian, Kevin Nash, Kevin Nash is 7 foot tall. It'll be hard to fight a guy like that. But I never got to that point, that I would have to think, man, how would I beat his ass? But keep in mind now, if you look at MMA, most of the champions that have been champions or were champions or going to be champions were trained in wrestling. Most of the champions are wrestlers, so I never I had to go, man, I got to take this guy and stuff, ground and pound this guy. I never came to that thought because, unless you trained in wrestling, you have no idea what you're doing. So I never, certainly I just named some tough guys. And I never got down to like, fuck you, let's go, And it's hard for me to say it, So, but again, we'll say there's no training like amateur wrestling.
Hey, this is Vijay from Sportskeeda again. Is there any wrestler in Impact Wrestling or outside the company right now who you think could be the next Scott Steiner?
Oh God, I'm not sure anybody would. As in the ring performer, it's tough. I mean, but do you really want to be a Scott Steiner, man? I've gotten so much trouble with, inside and outside the ring where I'm not sure that, let me just put it this way. It takes a lot of mental strength and mental fortitude to, able to get in certain kind of troubles and then, stick to it to where, like, and stay the course, so. Well, I don't know if I answered your question, but it's is there anybody that can be the next Scott Steiner? I'm not sure that anybody could handle it.
So, Scott, we have one final email question from legendary Joseph. He wants to know if you could pick an opponent for a dream match, who would it be?
Man, like I said, I've wrestled almost everybody. So I have to say the only one that could be a dream was The Rock, because I was one guy I never had wrestled. And I used to watch, we were doing Nitro, beating Raw, but then you still, take the other show and see what, the other company was doing. And, Stone Cold did his stuff, which is cool. Rock did his stuff, which is cool. I mean, I would have to say Stone Cold and The Rock, because I even though I wrestled Steve Austin in WCW, he wasn't Stone Cold. And I think our characters would match up good, and same with The Rock. And I think it could be pretty interesting, both doing interviews and in the ring, So those two guys right there.
Hi, Scott. It's Neil Rogers from Calling Sports Magazine again. I'm wondering, is there anything in your career that if you had the chance again to do differently, that you would change?
Yeah, not go up to WWF in '93. It was, the worst mistake we ever made, Because of the timing thing. He was going to jail for, everybody thought he was going to jail. He thought he was going to jail for, life and stuff. And it was probably the worst time to be up there, And, and that was the first glimpse I got of, innocent man being a liar,
Well, Scott, with that, we will wrap it up. I certainly appreciate your time, your candor, your opinions on everything. We will give you a final thought now. Redemption this Sunday, you and Eli Drake against LAX. Of course, we have Austin Aries defending the world title against Pentagon Jr. in Phoenix. Your thoughts heading into Redemption on Sunday?
Yeah, you're going to watch me again become a world tag team champion with one of the best guys that are in Impact right now, Eli Drake, and he's good on the mic too, so it could be pretty interesting. So I think for the most part, the whole card up and down the roster is going to be good. So it's going to be exciting. I think it'll be exciting to us. So and I get to meet up. I haven't cut my grass when it's all said and done.
Do you have a with Austin Aries against Pentagon Jr. in Phoenix?
What's that?
Do you have a prediction on the main event?
I have to go with the champion.
All right. Scott, very much appreciated.